The sound of ripping fabric cut through the music like a knife. Emma Thompson stood frozen in the middle of Westfield High's decorated gymnasium, feeling the cool air hit her exposed back. 200 phones lifted simultaneously, their cameras catching every second of her humiliation. The handmade silk dress, her mother's wedding dress, transformed with love, and 60 hours of labor hung in tatters from her shoulders. Tyler Morrison stepped back, admiring his handiwork. The silver fabric shears glinted in his hand as he tucked them into his tuxedo pocket. His football buddies formed a semicircle behind him, their laughter echoing off the walls. "Told you that you'd regret it," Tyler said, his voice carrying that same entitled tone she'd heard 8 months ago. But Emma didn't cry, she didn't run, she didn't even flinch. Instead, she did something that made Tyler's smirk falter. She smiled. "Quick pause if this story moves you. Please hit like and share your thoughts below. I read every comment, and if you can, tap the thanks button to help these stories reach others who need them. Every bit of support helps someone feel less alone." Now, let me show you how a quiet girl with her father's fighting spirit took down the untouchable bully. 8 months earlier, the Westfield High cafeteria buzzed with its usual lunchtime chaos. Emma sat at her regular table near the windows, discussing AP chemistry with Madison Hayes when the noise suddenly died. Every conversation stopped. Every head turned. Tyler Morrison was walking toward her table. Star quarterback, 6'2", the kind of jawline that belonged on magazine covers. His Letterman jacket bore so many patches, it looked like military dress blues. Behind him trailed Connor Williams and 2 other players, carrying what looked like 3 dozen red roses. Emma's stomach dropped. She'd seen this performance before. Tyler's grand romantic gestures were legendary at Westfield. Last year, he'd asked Brittany Chen to homecoming with a flash mob. The year before, he'd spelled out prom on the football field with burning torches. "Emma Thompson," Tyler announced, his voice pitched to carry across the entire cafeteria. He dropped to one knee beside her table, producing a small velvet box. Madison grabbed Emma's arm. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Would you do me the incredible honor?" Tyler continued, opening the box to reveal a silver bracelet with a tiny football charm. "Of being my girlfriend." The cafeteria held its breath. 200 students waited for the obvious answer, because nobody said no to Tyler Morrison. His father ran the booster club. His mother sat on the school board. His family's name was on the new athletic center. Emma looked at the bracelet. She looked at Tyler's confident smile. She looked at the phones already recording. "No," she said clearly. "I'm not interested." The word hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Tyler's face went through several expressions: confusion, disbelief, then something darker. "Excuse me." He stayed on one knee, but his knuckles whitened around the jewelry box. "I said no, thank you." Emma's voice stayed steady despite her racing heart. "I'm flattered, but I'm not interested in dating you." Someone dropped a lunch tray. The crash echoed through the silence. Tyler stood slowly, his 6'2" frame unfolding like a storm building. The roses scattered across the floor as Connor and the others backed away. "You're saying no to me." Each word came out harder than the last. "That's typically what no means." "Yes." Emma gathered her books, trying to project calm she didn't feel. Madison tugged her sleeve. "Emma, maybe you should—" "Nobody says no to me." Tyler's voice had dropped to a whisper, but somehow everyone heard it. "Nobody." Emma stood, shouldering her backpack. "Well, I just did. Have a nice lunch, Tyler." She walked away, Madison scrambling to follow. Behind them, the cafeteria exploded into whispers, gasps, and nervous laughter. But Emma heard Tyler's final words crystal clear: "You're going to regret this." The campaign started small, so small, Emma almost missed it. January 15th, a Monday. Emma opened her locker to find her textbook soaked in strawberry milk. The carton sat innocently on the top shelf, a small hole punched in the bottom. "Accident," Vice Principal Roberts concluded after reviewing the security footage. The cameras showed nothing. Mysterious malfunction during the exact 15-minute window when it happened. January 22nd. Her car tires deflated during 6th period, all 4 of them. "Kids," the security guard shrugged. "Probably freshmen pulling pranks." January 30th. Every essay she'd submitted online for English class had been changed to read, "I am a stuck-up bitch," repeated 500 times. Mrs. Patterson gave her zeros before Emma could prove the hack. "Change your password," the IT department suggested. "Use two-factor authentication." February hit harder. The posters appeared overnight. Emma's school photo, edited onto pornographic images, taped inside bathroom stalls, under desks, behind trophy cases. Madison helped her tear down 37 copies before first period. "This is sexual harassment," Madison insisted, marching to Principal Hayes's office, her father's office. Principal Hayes, a thin man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, studied the posters with obvious discomfort. "These are clearly fabricated, but without proof of who posted them, everyone knows it's Tyler." Madison slammed her hand on the desk. "Knowing and proving are different things." "Madison." Her father's voice carried the weight of political calculation. "The Morrison family has been very generous to this school. I can't make accusations without evidence." February 14th, Valentine's Day. Emma's Instagram account posted a dozen explicit messages to random male students at 2 in the morning. By the time she woke up and saw the notifications, screenshots had spread through every group chat in school. She spent 3 hours in the counselor's office, explaining she'd been hacked. Tyler, meanwhile, maintained perfect alibis. During the milk incident, he was at football practice. During the tire deflation, he sat in full view of 3 teachers at a National Honor Society meeting. During the Instagram hack, he was at a church youth group lock-in with 40 witnesses, but his eyes followed Emma through the halls. His smile grew wider with each incident. His buddies accidentally bumped her between classes, sending her books flying. March brought snow and escalation. Emma found her gym clothes shredded in her locker. Her parking spot was constantly taken, somehow. Her phone number ended up on Craigslist ads for free puppies call anytime. "Why don't you just apologize?" Brittany Chen suggested one day at lunch. She meant well. "Maybe if you went out with him once, I shouldn't have to date someone to stop them from harassing me." Emma interrupted. "No, but..." Brittany glanced around nervously. "Tyler's family basically owns this town. His dad got Coach Martinez hired. His mom approved the new computer lab funding. You're fighting the whole system." Emma stabbed her salad with unnecessary force. "Then the system is broken." But the worst part wasn't the pranks or the whispers or the constant looking over her shoulder. The worst part was watching her mother worry. Sarah Thompson had aged 5 years in the last 2 months. Her seamstress hands, always so steady, shook when she thought Emma wasn't looking. She'd started driving Emma to school, taking time off from her alterations business. "Mom, I'm fine," Emma insisted one morning in early April. "You're not fine." Her mother's eyes were red-rimmed, You're trying to be strong, just like your father always did. But even he knew when to ask for help. The mention of her dad hit like a physical blow. 3 years since the cancer took him. 3 years since Emma had laced up boxing gloves. 3 years of pretending that part of her life never existed. Dad would want me to handle this myself, Emma said quietly. Your father would want you safe. Sarah Thompson pulled her daughter into a fierce hug. That's all he ever wanted. That night, Emma heard her mother on the phone with the school board, then the police, then a lawyer they couldn't afford. Each call ended the same way, without proof, without witnesses, without cameras that mysteriously malfunctioned. There was nothing anyone could do. Emma stared at the ceiling, remembering her father's voice. Never start a fight. Baby girl, but if someone brings one to you, make sure you're the one who finishes it. April bloomed into May, and prom season arrived like a storm everyone could see coming. Tyler had a new girlfriend. Brittany finally succumbed to the full-court press of flowers, jewelry, and social pressure. They were nominated for prom king and queen. Naturally, the whole school buzzed with anticipation for whatever spectacular promposal Tyler would orchestrate. Emma planned to skip the whole thing. $65 for a ticket to watch Tyler Morrison get crowned. She'd rather spend the night reviewing for AP exams. But Madison wouldn't hear it. You are not letting him take prom away from you too, she declared, slamming a ticket down on Emma's desk. We're going. We're wearing amazing dresses. We're dancing until our feet hurt. And we're showing Tyler Morrison that he didn't break you. Madison, I can't afford already handled early birthday present. My birthday's in October. Then it's a very early birthday present. Madison's expression softened. Emma, you've let him take so much already. Don't let him take this too. That evening, Emma found her mother in the sewing room, surrounded by fabric swatches and pattern pieces. The ancient Singer's sewing machine, a wedding gift from 25 years ago, hummed beneath her skilled hands. Prom dress? Sarah asked without looking up. I'm not going. Her mother's hands stilled. Yes, you are? Mom. And you're wearing this. Sarah turned, revealing a cascade of silver silk that caught the light like moonbeams. Remember this fabric. Emma's throat tightened. She knew that pattern, those tiny embroidered flowers. Your wedding dress, which has been sitting in storage for 20 years. Waiting. Her mother's smile was soft but determined. I think it's waited long enough. Mom, no. That dress is fabric, thread, memories. Sarah held the material up to Emma's shoulders. But mostly, it's love. And love is meant to be worn, not hidden away. For the next 3 weeks, Sarah Thompson worked magic. She took measurements, adjusted seams, modernized the silhouette while keeping the vintage charm. Every night after her regular alterations, she bent over the silver silk, adding delicate beadwork, reinforcing seams, pouring 25 years of dreams into every stitch. Emma would find her there at midnight, 1 in the morning, sometimes later. Mom, you need sleep. I need to see my daughter shine. Sarah's fingers never stopped moving. Let me do this, Emma. Let me give you one perfect night. As she worked, she told stories. How Emma's father had cried when he saw her walking down the aisle in this dress. How they'd danced to At Last by Etta James while his Marine buddies wolf whistled. How he'd whispered that their children would be fighters, every one of them. He'd be so proud of you, Sarah murmured, adjusting a hem. The way you've handled everything Tyler's thrown at you. Never backing down. Never giving in. Emma traced the embroidered flowers with one finger. I don't feel very brave. Bravery isn't the absence of fear, sweetheart. It's continuing forward despite it. 3 days before prom. The dress was finished. Emma stood before the full-length mirror, barely recognizing herself. The silver silk hugged her athletic frame perfectly, the modernized sweetheart neckline elegant but age-appropriate. Her mother had added subtle cap sleeves and a flowing skirt that moved like water. You look like a warrior princess. Madison breathed when she came over for the reveal. Emma did a slow turn, watching the fabric catch the light. For the first time in months, she felt powerful, beautiful, unbreakable. She had no idea Tyler Morrison was already planning to shatter that feeling. Connor Williams sat in the back booth of Rossetti's Pizza, watching Tyler sketch diagrams on a napkin like he was planning a football play, which, in a way, he was. She enters from the main doors, Tyler muttered, drawing X's and O's. Probably with Madison. They'll take pictures by the balloon arch, like everyone else. Ty, man, maybe we should just... Connor started. Just what? Tyler's eyes snapped up. Let her win. Let everyone think some nobody scholarship case can disrespect me. The other two guys at the table, Derek and Marcus, exchanged glances. They'd been Tyler's crew since middle school, but lately, something felt different, darker. It's been 8 months, Derek ventured. Maybe it's time when I say it's time. Tyler pulled out his phone, showing them an Instagram post, Emma's prom dress fitting, secretly photographed through Madison's bedroom window. Look at her, acting like she's better than everyone, better than me. The silver dress did look stunning, Connor admitted silently. Emma looked like something out of a movie, all elegance and grace. Maybe that's what bothered Tyler most. She'd found a way to shine without him. What's the play? Marcus asked, resigned. Tyler smiled. Reaching into his backpack, he pulled out a pair of fabric shears, the kind professional seamstresses used. Heavy, sharp, expensive. Simple. She wants to be the center of attention, I'll make sure she gets it. Connor's stomach turned. You're going to cut her dress at prom in front of everyone. Right at the peak of the night, when they're about to announce prom court. Tyler tested the shears action, the metallic whisper making Connor flinch. One quick cut down the back. The whole thing falls apart. She's standing there in her underwear, crying, humiliated. Perfect ending to her little rebellion. That's assault, Connor said quietly. That's justice. Tyler pocketed the shears. She humiliated me in front of the whole school. Now it's her turn. There'll be cameras everywhere. Teachers, chaperones, already handled. Tyler's confidence never wavered. My dad made a generous donation for new prom decorations, specifically requested dim lighting for ambiance. As for cameras, well, they've been malfunctioning a lot lately, haven't they? The plan was simple, cruel, efficient. During the traditional prom court dance, when all eyes were on the nominees, Tyler would slip behind Emma. One strategic cut, timed with a crescendo in the music. By the time anyone realized what happened, the damage would be done. You're all in, right? Tyler looked at each of them. My boys, my brothers. Derek and Marcus nodded immediately. They always did. Connor hesitated a beat too long. Problem. Connor, Tyler's voice carried an edge sharp as those shears. "No problem." Connor forced loyalty into his voice. "Brothers." But as they left the pizza place, Connor's phone felt heavy in his pocket. The recording app had been running the entire time. He wasn't sure what he'd do with the audio yet, but something told him he'd need it. Prom night arrived wrapped in perfect spring weather. 72 degrees. Clear skies. A light breeze carrying the scent of blooming jasmine. The kind of night made for memories. Emma stood before her bedroom mirror one last time, her mother fussing with final touches. "Stop moving," Sarah commanded through a mouthful of bobby pins. "I'm not moving." "You're vibrating with nerves." Her mother stepped back, eyes misty. "There, perfect." Emma studied her reflection. The silver dress seemed to glow in the soft light, the beadwork catching every angle. Her hair was swept up in an elegant twist Madison had spent 2 hours perfecting. Simple diamond studs, her grandmother's, completed the look. "I look like your father's daughter," Sarah finished. "Strong, beautiful, unbreakable." A car honked outside. Madison, arriving in her older brother's borrowed Tesla. "Mom!" Emma turned, words failing. Sarah pulled her into a fierce hug, careful not to wrinkle anything. "Show them who you are tonight. Show them what we're made of." The Westfield High Gymnasium had been transformed into an enchanted garden. Thousands of twinkle lights created a canopy overhead. Silk flowers and real ivy wound around every surface. A professional DJ booth dominated one corner, while photo stations dotted the perimeter. Emma entered on Madison's arm, both girls having decided they didn't need dates to have a perfect night. The reaction was immediate. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. Someone dropped a glass of punch. "Is that Emma Thompson?" "That dress? She looks like an actual princess." Emma kept her chin high, following Madison toward their reserved table. She could feel eyes tracking her movement, whispers rippling in her wake. But for once, they weren't cruel whispers. They were awed. Then she saw him. Tyler stood near the dance floor, Brittany clinging to his arm in a cotton candy pink confection of tulle and sequins. His tuxedo was perfectly tailored, his smile camera-ready. But his eyes burned with something that made Emma's survival instincts scream. "Ignore him," Madison murmured. "This is our night." They found their table. Madison had strategically chosen one far from Tyler's crowd. Soon, they were joined by other friends from AP classes. Drama club, the kids who usually flew under the social radar. Everyone complimented Emma's dress, wanted to know where she'd bought it. "My mom made it," Emma said proudly, "from her own wedding dress." "That's the most romantic thing I've ever heard." Ashley from calculus sighed. The night flowed like honey. Good music, better friends. And, for a few hours, Emma forgot about Tyler Morrison entirely. She danced with her table, laughed at terrible jokes, took dozens of photos she'd actually want to keep. But Tyler hadn't forgotten about her. He watched from across the room, marking her movements like a predator studying prey. The shears pressed against his ribs inside his jacket. Brittany chattered about her dress, her shoes, her hair. But Tyler heard none of it. All he could see was Emma Thompson, shining like a star he couldn't touch. "Babe, let's dance." Brittany tugged his arm. In a minute, Connor appeared at his shoulder. "Ty, I don't think—" "Good, don't think. Just be ready." The DJ's voice boomed across the speakers. "All right, Westfield High. It's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. This year's prom court." The crowd pressed toward the dance floor. Tyler checked his watch. Perfect timing. Starting with our junior representatives, Emma stood with her friends near the back, clapping politely as names were called. She didn't notice Tyler moving through the crowd, didn't see him positioning himself behind her. And now, your senior prom king and queen nominees. The music swelled. The lights dimmed further, spotlights focusing on the dance floor. Everyone faced forward, attention locked on the announcement. Tyler's hand slipped inside his jacket. Your 2024 prom queen is Brittany Chen. The crowd erupted. Brittany squealed, rushing toward the stage in a pink blur. Tyler was supposed to follow his name would be next. Instead, he stepped closer to Emma. The Shears whispered free of his pocket. And your prom king is… Emma felt it then, a presence behind her. That survival instinct her father had trained into her bones, screaming danger. She started to turn. The blade bit into fabric with a sound like tearing paper. Cold air rushed across Emma's back as Tyler dragged the shears down in one vicious motion. The vintage silk, weakened by age despite Sarah's reinforcement, gave way like tissue. Emma gasped, hands flying to hold the front of her dress as the back fell away. The crowd hadn't noticed yet, still focused on the stage where Tyler's name was being called for prom king. But then someone screamed. Phones appeared like magic, their cameras hungry for catastrophe. The spotlight operator, confused by the commotion, swung the beam toward the crowd. It found Emma, standing there, her mother's dress in ruins, surrounded by pointing fingers and cruel laughter. Tyler stepped back, shears still in hand. That satisfied smirk finally getting its moment. Oops, he said, loud enough for the gathering crowd to hear. Guess you should have just said yes. But Emma didn't cry. She didn't run. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she did something that made Tyler's smirk falter. She smiled. Thank you, Tyler, Emma said, her voice hopefully carrying across the suddenly silent gymnasium. You just gave me exactly what I needed. Madison was already moving, stripping off her own wrap and draping it around Emma's shoulders, but Emma didn't huddle or hide. She stood straight, meeting the eyes of every person recording. Everyone saw that. Right, Emma addressed the crowd directly. Tyler Morrison just assaulted me with a weapon in front of 200 witnesses. It was a joke. Tyler's voice cracked slightly. Can't you take a… Connor, now would be good, Madison called out, from the crowd. Connor Williams stepped forward, his phone held high. I've got everything. Tyler, the whole plan. You talking about buying the shears, planning the timing, even bribing the lighting guy. The gymnasium erupted. Tyler's face went from triumphant to pale in 3 seconds flat. Connor, what are you… I'm done, Ty. Connor moved to stand beside Emma. 8 months of watching you torture her. I'm done being your accomplice. But Tyler wasn't looking at Connor anymore. He was staring at Emma, who had shed Madison's wrap and tied the ruined dress straps behind her neck like a halter. Somehow, impossibly, she'd turned his attack into a fashion statement. You want to know why I said no to you? Tyler. Emma stepped forward, the crowd parting before her. It wasn't because I thought I was better than you. It was because I could see exactly who you were. Weak, scared, someone who needs to tear others down to feel tall. Shut up. Tyler's hands clenched into fists. You don't know anything about me. I know you peaked in high school. Emma's voice stayed calm, conversational. I know you'll spend the rest of your life trying to recapture this tiny bit of power you have right now. And I know that 20 years from now, when someone asks about your greatest accomplishment, you'll still be talking about that touchdown you threw junior year. The crowd oohed like they were watching a rap battle. Someone started live streaming. Principal Hayes pushed through the crowd, his face red. What is going on here? Your star quarterback just assaulted a student with a weapon, Madison announced, holding up Tyler's discarded Shears, on camera, in front of hundreds of witnesses. She's lying, Tyler sputtered. I didn't. Tyler Morrison, come with me. Now. Principal Hayes looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 seconds. The rest of you. Prom is over. Everyone out. But Emma wasn't finished. Actually, Principal Hayes, I'd like to press charges. Assault with a weapon. Destruction of property. 8 months of documented harassment. She pulled out her phone. I have screenshots of every incident. Dates, times, witness statements. My mother has receipts for 4 slashed tires, 3 destroyed textbooks, and now a priceless family heirloom destroyed out of spite. You can't prove, Tyler started. February 14th, Emma interrupted. You used a VPN from your cousin Derek's laptop to hack my Instagram, March 3rd. You paid Jordan Matthews $50 to put the posters in the girls' bathrooms. He kept the Venmo receipt. April 10th. You had Marcus distract the security guard while you slashed my tires. Should I continue? The gymnasium had gone cemetery quiet. Even the DJ had cut the music. Tyler's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Behind him, Brittany was backing away, her prom queen tiara crooked. Outside, Tyler snarled. Right now, you and me. Tyler, no, Connor warned. But Emma was already walking toward the exit. Fine, let's finish this. The crowd surged after them, phones out, hungry for the conclusion. Principal Hayes shouted for everyone to stop, to come back. But teenaged momentum had taken over. The parking lot was bathed in orange streetlight. Cars sat in neat rows, silent witnesses to what was about to unfold. Tyler shed his tuxedo jacket, throwing it at Derek. His white shirt stretched across quarterback muscles. I'm going to enjoy this, he growled, stalking toward Emma. Emma kicked off her heels, bare feet steady on the asphalt. She rolled her shoulders once, twice. The movement was subtle, practiced, automatic. Emma, don't, Madison pleaded. He's twice your size. And size doesn't matter, Emma said quietly. My dad taught me that. Tyler charged like a bull, all rage and no strategy. His right fist drew back, telegraphing the haymaker from a mile away. Time seemed to slow as 3 years of muscle memory kicked in. Emma pivoted on her back foot, Tyler's fist whistling past her ear. His momentum carried him forward, off balance. She helped him along with a precise push to his shoulder, sending him stumbling past. Lucky, Tyler spat, wheeling around. He came again, this time with a wild left hook. Emma ducked under it, his arm passing over her head. The crowd gasped. Stop running! Tyler was getting frustrated, breathing hard. I'm not running, Emma said. I'm waiting. For what? For you to tire yourself out. Tyler roared and launched himself at her, trying to use his size advantage to tackle her. It was exactly what Emma expected, what she'd trained for all those years in her father's garage. She sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, used his momentum against him. It was a textbook judo throw, executed with the precision of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. Tyler's back hit the asphalt hard, air whooshing from his lungs. "How?" he wheezed. Emma stood over him, perfectly balanced in her ruined prom dress. Golden Gloves junior champion, 3 years running. My dad was a Marine boxing instructor. You've been harassing the wrong girl. Tyler, she could have stopped there. Should have. Probably. But 8 months of torment had built up pressure that needed release. Tyler struggled to his feet, ego overriding common sense. "I'm not done." The cross came from Emma's hip, her whole body rotating into it. Perfect form. Perfect timing. Her fist connected with Tyler's jaw with a crack that echoed across the parking lot. Tyler Morrison dropped like a bag of wet cement. The parking lot exploded. Cheers, screams, applause. Someone started chanting Emma's name. Others just stood in shocked silence, processing what they'd just witnessed. Emma flexed her fingers, checking for damage. Her knuckles were red, but intact. Another gift from her father, how to punch without breaking your hand. "Everyone saw that, right?" she echoed her earlier words. "He attacked me. I defended myself." "Hell yes, you did," someone shouted. Connor knelt beside Tyler, checking if he was conscious. He was, barely, moaning and holding his jaw. "My face," Tyler slurred. "My scholarship. Should have thought of that 8 months ago," Connor said without sympathy. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called the police, probably Principal Hayes. Emma sat on the hood of someone's car, suddenly exhausted. Madison draped the wrap around her shoulders again. "That was the most badass thing I've ever seen," Madison whispered. "Also, you're insane." "I know." Emma managed a weak smile. "I think the adrenaline's wearing off." And the police arrived in a confusion of lights and questions. They took statements, examined the Shears, watched multiple phone videos of both incidents. Tyler was helped into an ambulance, still mumbling about his scholarship. His parents arrived in their Mercedes. His mother shrieking about lawsuits until she saw the video evidence. "Ma'am, your son assaulted a young woman with a weapon," Officer Martinez said firmly, "on camera, then challenged her to a fight, which he lost. He's looking at assault charges, harassment, stalking, and cybercrimes." Mr. Morrison, the mighty Booster Club president, seemed to shrink. "There must be some misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Emma interrupted. "Your son has tormented me for 8 months because I wouldn't date him. You enabled it. The school enabled it. Everyone enabled it because of your money and your influence." She stood, the ruined dress still somehow elegant in the police lights. "But I'm done being silent. I'm pressing charges, all of them." The story exploded before the sun rose. Prom queen takes down bully in epic showdown. Girl fights back, the Emma Thompson story. Viral video, David beats Goliath in prom dress, by morning. The live stream had 2 million views. By noon, it was trending nationally. Hashtag Emma Strong became a rallying cry. Hashtag Dressgate 2024 spawned 1,000 memes. Emma woke to 300 text messages and 57 missed calls. Her mother sat on the edge of her bed, eyes red but smiling. "The school called," Sarah said. "Tyler's been expelled. His father resigned from the Booster Club. 3 other girls came forward with harassment complaints." Emma sat up, wincing. Her knuckles were properly swollen now. "Is it over?" "The Tyler part. Yes, but, honey," Sarah showed her phone. "Ellen DeGeneres wants you on her show. The news wants interviews, and look at this." The screen showed an inbox flooded with messages, scholarship offers from universities, sponsorship deals from athletic wear companies, a Hollywood agent asking about movie rights. "I just wanted him to stop," Emma said quietly. "You did more than that." Her mother pulled her close. "You showed every bullied kid that they can fight back, that they don't have to suffer in silence." A knock at the door interrupted them. Madison burst in, carrying a garment bag. "Okay, so I know this is crazy, but Vera Wang's people called. They want to design you a new prom dress, for free, for the Ellen show." Emma laughed, really laughed, for the first time in 8 months. "I can't wear Vera Wang on daytime TV. Yes you can, and you will." Madison hung the bag on the closet door. "Also, there's like 1,000 people outside with signs. Good signs, support signs. It's kind of amazing." Emma moved to the window. Her quiet street was packed with students, parents, even teachers. Signs read, "Justice for Emma," and "Bullying stops here," and "Real strength is standing up." At the front of the crowd stood Connor Williams, holding a sign that said simply, "I'm sorry." 3 weeks later, Emma stood in the Thompson's Warriors Training Center, the converted garage where her father had taught her to fight. 15 young girls in boxing gloves faced her, eyes bright with determination. "First rule," Emma said, demonstrating the proper stance. "We don't start fights. We finish them." "Yes, coach," the girls chorused. The garage walls were covered in newspaper clippings, printed emails, photos from the hundreds of supporters who'd reached out. Tyler Morrison's mugshot was notably absent. Emma didn't believe in glorifying the villain. "Coach Emma." A tiny girl named Destiny raised her gloved hand. "Were you scared when he came at you?" Emma considered the question. "Terrified. But my dad used to say courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. Being scared is normal. Letting fear control you isn't." She moved among them, adjusting stances, correcting form. Each girl had her own story, bullied, harassed, made to feel small. But here, in this sacred space, they were warriors in training. "Hey, Emma." Connor Williams stood in the doorway, hesitant. He'd been coming by daily, helping set up equipment, trying to make amends. "Local news is here. They want to do a follow-up story." Emma nodded. 3 months since prom night. Tyler was serving community service. His football scholarship evaporated. His family had quietly moved to another state. The school had implemented strict anti-bullying policies with real consequences. But more importantly, something had shifted in the culture. Kids were speaking up. Bystanders were becoming allies. The silence that protected bullies was breaking. 2 more minutes, Emma told the news crew. She faced her students one more time. "Remember, ladies, you are not victims. You are not targets. You are warriors, and warriors never back down." And they shouted in unison as the cameras rolled, capturing the next generation of fighters. Emma touched the Golden Gloves trophy on the shelf. Her father's legacy lived on, not in the championships or the accolades, but in every girl who learned to stand tall, fight back, and never let anyone dim their light. The silver dress, carefully repaired by her mother's patient hands, hung in a place of honor, not as a reminder of the worst night, but as a symbol of the moment everything changed. The moment Emma Thompson stopped being a victim and became a voice, and in schools across the country. When bullies cornered their prey, when the strong terrorized the weak, when silence seemed like the only option, someone would remember the girl in the ruined prom dress who fought back. And maybe, just maybe, They'd find their own courage to stand up and say, "No more." Emma stood before Congress, her hands steady on the podium. The same hands that had defended herself in a parking lot now held pages of testimony about school bullying and institutional failure. Tyler Morrison wasn't the problem. She spoke into the microphone, her voice carrying across the chamber. He was a symptom. The problem was every adult who looked the other way. Every policy that protected reputation over students. Every time someone said, "Kids will be kids," instead of, "This ends now." In the gallery, Sarah Thompson wiped tears from her eyes. Madison sat beside her, live streaming for the thousands of supporters who called themselves Emma's Warriors. The Emma Thompson Safe Schools Act will require mandatory reporting of bullying incidents, real consequences for schools that fail to protect students, federal funding for anti-bullying programs that actually work. Senator Williams, no relation to Connor, nodded approvingly. Because no student should have to learn self-defense just to survive high school. The bill would pass unanimously. Tyler Morrison's name would become synonymous with the kind of bullying that destroyed lives. But Emma's name would represent something else entirely, the moment victims became victors. After the hearing, Emma found Connor waiting outside. He'd spent the months since prom volunteering with anti-bullying organizations, using his insider knowledge of how bullies operated to help prevent future tragedies. "You did it," he said simply. "We all did it." Emma looked at the crowds of supporters holding signs. Every person who shared the video, every parent who demanded change, every kid who stood up to their own bully because they saw it was possible. Her phone buzzed. Another message from another girl somewhere in America who'd found courage in Emma's story. She'd answer it later, like she answered them all, because warriors looked out for each other. That night, back in Columbus, Emma returned to her father's garage gym. But she wasn't alone. 50 girls now trained there in rotating classes. The waiting list stretched for months. Local businesses donated equipment. Former victims became instructors. On the wall, beside her father's Golden Gloves trophy, hung a new edition, the repaired silver prom dress, preserved in a display case. A plaque beneath it read, "Sometimes the most beautiful transformations come from the most painful experiences." This dress was torn by hatred, but mended by love. It represents every person who refused to let someone else's cruelty define their worth. Fight like a warrior. Stand like a champion. Shine like silver. Emma touched the case gently, then turned to face her newest class of warriors. Ready to begin. The end.